Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, good morning. You see me over here. Be laughing before we even get started. And it'll be a good discussion about COVID, of course, and art and how we use art to heal. We know that a lot of us are going through some really hard times in regards to COVID. So hopefully we can have some healing and figure out ways we can do that through art. My name is Khadijah, and I am a faith ambassador of the COVID-19 Prevention Network, and our goal is to talk about COVID, raise awareness, educate, and provide support to those who need education and information. But tonight we have some amazing folks, as you can see. We have Tariq, Toure, and we have Nadirah, Pierre. And they're going to tell us about who they are and all their amazingness. So we'll start with Nadirah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because it glitched a little bit. So, assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. My name is Nadirah P. Born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I am a stand-up comedian, content creator, YouTuber, professional meme maker, etc., etc. I am all about jokes and joy and dragging people on the internet.
Ooh, you gotta watch out. Thank you for joining us. I used to live in Newark briefly back in the day. That's where I met you. Like, what? That was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
At least 10 years ago.
Yes.
It's good to see you doing big things, mashallah. And next we have Tariq.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Tariq Toure. I am a poet and artist from West Baltimore, Maryland, and I've been writing professionally for about 13 years now. So, alhamdulillah, just happy to share my work with the community and get feedback from the community and build more art with the community in mind. So, just thank you all so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here. So we hope to have about 30-minute discussion or so. And those who are watching have any questions they want to ask our lovely guests, please do so in the comments and we'll share them as we go throughout this discussion, inshallah. But I know many of us are affected by COVID. We have lost people to COVID. We know people who are currently trying to beat COVID. So it's a very trying time for many of us. But we're trying to find ways we can kind of like get through this turbulent time through different avenues. And one form we're thinking about is art. So I'm going to ask the guest, whoever wants to answer first can, but how can we use art as a form of healing, especially during this time of COVID?
I think the oldest should go first.
You know that don't bother me. I'm the youngest of 7. I've been waiting all my life for those type of offers. So yes, as the oldest, I will go. So art as a form of healing. I want to first say that that artist function is to sort of dye society's fabric and paint reality for people, describe reality for people, express reality for people. And the second part of that is that a lot of people go through things that they may not be able to express themselves. And so they may look at artists as people who actually tell what's going on. You know, you might have gone through a situation. You don't know how to formulate words that attach to that emotion. You don't know how to formulate like a joke that really explains that situation until you come across an artist and they've literally put you in the driver's seat of that experience. And then you're like, wow, you know, I never thought of it like that, even though I knew exactly what that was. The third part of that is that people within themselves, you know, if you choose a medium, it could be art, it could be putting together a puzzle, it could be writing, something expressive. You can take control of your own sort of expression and find out what's inside of yourself first and foremost. And you don't need to be formally trained to do that. You don't need to gone and got an MFA, or you ain't had to do none of that. You really can just take it upon yourself to try to create and try to describe what you're going through. And in doing that, sometimes when you lay things all out on the table, as art does, it helps you to be able to cope and look at things for what they are. And hopefully you can start putting things in the right place. And so that's what I believe art does for healing.
Wow.
What can I say? Like,
you are so deep.
Sure. Yeah. All of that.
That's the part where you're supposed to crack a joke or you dead.
No, I think first of all, of course, I agree with everything that Tariq said, but I feel like something that's a bit more along the lines of the type of artist that I am and the type of art that I've really been leaning into to help me cope during these times is that art can give you a break. And I think rest is so essential to the process of healing. Because it's like if you cut yourself, if you spend 24/7 just putting ointment, you're not giving it a chance to heal. You're not giving it a chance to really do what it needs to do after you've already applied the ointment. So for me personally, I'm all about resting. When I get on the internet that's all I'm doing. When I get on the internet and I'm talking to people, I'm giving you a chance to rest. You have enough to deal with when you're not on my page. You have enough to deal with when I'm not live streaming. You have enough to deal with, with other people's wretched social medias. So when you're coming to take part in my art, I'm giving you a break. I'm letting you lay it down. I'm letting you rest. And I'm bearing the brunt of doing the work for nothing more than for your enjoyment and for your entertainment and for you to rest.
So, wow. So it's like you're giving your viewers an outlet. What's going on in the world, they can come to you and kind of find some relief, some comedy, because we're having so much stress on us, what's going on around us. Wow, you guys are so deep. I love it, mashallah. So, Tariq, you mentioned that you don't have to have a degree or some kind of background to be an artist. So, for young people or old people or middle-aged people of any age, if they want to get involved and start doing art, how can they get started? What should they do first?
I mean, I'm a writer, so I'm biased. So I'm always going to tell people to write first because I feel like it's if you if you're able to write yourself, then that's one of the quickest ways to be able to express yourself. But I would first I would want people to probably ask themselves, what is the most attractive form of art to you? So if it's like music, if it's like movies, if it's film or something like that, then you should try your hand at some form of that. And I say that because sometimes we expect the first thing that we try is going to be the thing. Like the first, oh man, get up and write, and you might not be a writer right now. You might be something else right now. And I don't want to discourage people if what they try to produce doesn't come out right. So I think whatever you're attracted to first, then you should go ahead. I tried when I was younger, I tried to draw a lot, and I wasn't really good at drawing. I thought I was going to be, some great illustrator. But I was better with writing. And I had to find my way through that through drawing. I had to fail at drawing and be garbage at drawing, and then finally be all right, I think I'm gonna leave that alone. And so I would say whatever you're attracted to, just go for it.
What about you, Nadirah?
I feel like there's no experience that is more humbling than telling jokes for a living, because sometimes it's really gonna hit, it's gonna hit, and then sometimes it's really not. It's gonna go so far left. But I think if you're interested in that art, you should just do it. Because whether you are good at it or not good at it, sometimes it's going to hit, sometimes it's not. But I think you should try everything because, like Tariq said, you never know. Like you might want something, but there's something else that may be better for you. So I think before you commit to something, you should definitely try everything. But then I also think it's good from the beginning to be very clear on what you want to do with your art. Because I've seen people who they're like, oh yeah, I want to be an artist. You don't want to be an artist. You want to be famous. You want to be known. And starting off sometimes with bad intentions could greatly affect your art, can make you a horrible artist. When really, if you were just honest about yourself, about what you were trying to do, you would be better, much better in your art, or you'll find that you'll be much better at something else.
You know what? You're so right. And people sometimes they can see through it if you're being fake, right? They can kind of see through all that. So that's actually a good point. And for me, growing up, my art was basketball. Playing ball. Like I loved it. I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I got older. But as I got older, you know, I kind of phased out of that because of different reasons. So I tried acting when I was in high school. And I had the lead role in a play. And I practiced and practiced and practiced. And then in front of my whole school, I was like, I couldn't say it. Like it wasn't for me. So I tried writing, and when I used to live in Jersey, Nadirah, I used to go to like spoken word things with Najla and all the other young ladies, and I found a closeness and the way to kind of reveal, just kind of be myself through spoken word. So I did that for a while. I really loved it, and then I tried doing blogging. So you can have many arts you can do. You don't have to have just one. And I love that you mentioned that you say just try everything. So alhamdulillah. We have a question from Simea. She asked, any tips on getting yourself out there? So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but if you want to let's say you have an emerging artist who wants to just get yourself out there, maybe people get to know them and their work. I think what you're saying, Simea, do you have any advice for her?
I'll let Nadirah take this one.
I think, again, be very clear and concise with yourself and with Allah on what your true intentions are, because do you really want to be out here? And when you say you want to be out here, who do you want to see you? And what do you want them to see? So I think before anything else, and I say this no matter what your profession is, to be very clear and concise with your intentions. After that, just keep doing it. Whoever it's meant to touch, it will touch, but don't be a simp. Don't be thirsty. That's not cute. Relax, chill out, and trust Allah.
MashaAllah. Anything you want to add, Tariq?
I think she really said it all. I would probably find it's so dangerous now. I didn't sort of come of age in writing and performing where there's literally somebody live streaming open mic every night. So it was low cost entry of brutal feedback. And so it's a bit different now because somebody could need brutal feedback as to where their art is. And you need brutal feedback to get better because it will tell you things that you could improve. But everything is viral now. So like she said, are you sure you want that? And is your skin going to be tough enough to deal with the way feedback is given now?
No filter.
Yeah, you need to really have a very short memory, almost like an athlete that make a mistake 2 seconds ago and they just keep playing. So I would say find some groups off to the side that you can practice your stuff with and get real feedback, and find ways to embarrass yourself. Also, that that's one of the things that just really sort of helped me survive, and even to this day. I still find ways to like embarrass myself and like fail miserably and look back and be like, dang, I just didn't really hit the ball then. And what that does is it'll like Sister Nadirah was saying, like it'll shave off everything you thought about like fame, right? And you'll start to become more concerned about craft, right? It's like, because at first you want to please the crowd, you want to please the crowd, you want to please the crowd. The crowd's feedback or people who are good feedback is going to be like, no, this is garbage. You did bad here. This could be improved X, Y, and Z. And then your focus turns from them to improvement. And then for the rest of, until you die, it's like, I just want to get better. Like, forget what they say. So,
So I have more questions to ask you, but we have a lot of questions here in the comments. So I'm gonna hold off on mine, and we'll just bring these up. So the first one is, Nadirah, what's your first video to go viral? We'll talk about viral, and how did that make you feel? How did your life change?
My first video to go viral was like a skit. I did a skit about if sisters try to like spit game at brothers the way they do at us. And it was one of those things where I like went to sleep and woke up and it was like people were like calling and texting, messaging me like, saw your video here, saw your video there. And it was cool. Like I felt good. I was like, oh, okay, great. That was a joke that really hit, even though that wasn't my intention. How did your life change? Does she mean after that first video or like up until now?
I would assume after the first video, but let's see if she comments here. And if others have questions too, please feel free to put them in the comments.
I'll do both, just in case. After that first video, I was still chilling. Like it wasn't like, major corporations were hitting me up. It was just like, oh, okay, hood famous, what's new? So I was like, yeah, that's cool. Up until now, like, whoosh, I'm a whole stand-up comedian now. So, wow, Allahu Akbar.
See, like it's all about intentions too. You didn't intend to be the stand-up comedian, but you just did a video and it just kind of went viral, and now here you are. So, I mean, I think a lot of those who do things with like really good intentions and really tries to, support that. So, alhamdulillah. The next question we have is for you, Tariq. Do you use your first piece still? What's your first poem to put you on the map? I got to think about that one. So May got all the questions tonight.
I know. I don't know, and I have to like look and actually find it. So because of me playing sports, and coming from a big family in my city, I've had to negotiate attention since I was little, just a period. And so it wasn't really like a map because just by default, I didn't do anything to have it done. Like, but I just come from a big family, so a lot of people know my family just because there's a lot of us, not like doing anything extravagant. So any attention all feels the same. Like it all feels the same. So I think a lot of people responded to the Al Jazeera piece that I did, and something that I think Nadirah said of, it just is what it is that like Nadirah is like funny, like she's funny, if that makes sense. Like she's funny, not she is like Drake is an actor that's very good at rapping. Right? He does a very good acting job of a rapper. Nadirah is funny, so her output is funny. I'm a writer, right? So like my output is that, and so it was very good to get feedback from a lot of people, like, hey, this that was poem was amazing and things of that nature. But I was a kid who played sports and knew how to write, and that combined in a certain moment where something needed to be written about kids who were playing sports that were being treated like cattle and shackled with money. And you get what I'm saying? It's like those Allah set the conditions for that, and I just happen to have a pen, something. But I just say all that to say is that, like, a lot of times there are thoughts about, like, when was the moment, or like when was the, and I'm willing to say that a lot of people who maybe have a lot more attention, I don't like saying success, fame, anything like that, just attention. This is just the nature of it. It's just attention. People who had attention like that, a lot of them probably they're just doing what they're already naturally going to be doing anyway, right? So that's why Nadirah is funny. If she knew two people and she was in a corner store, she was probably going to be funny in that context. It just happens that more people are watching.
Gotcha. And you're speaking a little bit about Allah and different things, and it kind of made me think about this question. In Islam, a lot of times we get like pushback. Sometimes not Islam, but people in the community, we get pushback on doing art, whether it's singing or acting or comedy or even writing. Does Islam promote art? And if it does promote art, what do we see? Like, why do we get so much pushback sometimes? Like, I love art. People have something to say about it, but I think Islam has an environment where it cultivates us to do art. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Nadirah, you can go ahead if you
want. I think receiving the amount of pushback that I did for so long definitely weighed on me. And alhamdulillah, it didn't deter me. I had people messaging me and was like, oh my God, you're making jokes about Allah. You're not even a Muslim. But then they would like the video. So I was like, I don't really, I don't know if that's the thing to do. But I feel like because my specific type of art isn't necessarily reflected in Islamic history. And then you add on the fact that I'm Black and I'm Muslim and I'm a woman and I'm loud. It's like boatloads of pushback. It's like all types of people saying all types of things. But at the end of the day, you're not going to tell me that Allah doesn't want us to be happy. And it just so happens that Allah has given me some of that joy to hold and to mold and to cultivate and to give it to my people in a way that's going to bring them joy. And you can't tell me that that's haram. And I had so many people quote the hadith that says, if you knew what I knew, I think it said you would laugh less and cry more. And I was like, so why aren't you crying right now? Let's be honest. Why aren't you crying right now? So I think it's been difficult to deal with the Muslim community and the type of art that I do, and getting people used to seeing a Black Muslim woman on stage and making you laugh and, all of these things. But at the end of the day, I believe in bringing my people joy. I thank Allah for giving me the gift of being able to do that for my people. And you can't tell me that it's wrong, especially not when you'll listen to a non-Muslim man get up and make vulgar jokes for 2 hours and talk about all types of crazy things. But God forbid, I make fun of the brothers and their dirty socks with holes in them, and next thing you know, I'm damn to hell. You can't tell me that. So that's just how I feel about it.
Wow. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, she said it all. So the architect who built the Ottoman palaces, the architect, his name is Sanan, and so like his the ultimate goal was that at least when somebody reflects on the way I've designed this, that that people will remember Allah, or people will pray for him or something of that nature. And so we have to find ways to facilitate that our talent is cultivated and embraced, because we love like shooting it down when it's like already up there because somebody else appreciated it and all this. Like, we love doing that, but like Khadijah, when Ahmed is in the masjid and they're running around and they spitting rhymes or something like that, it's like, yeah, go. So we have to make sure that like we really just embrace that, because folks gonna have talent. Some of my mother always say, like, people, should be brutally honest. Like, our family, we're creative people. Like, that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna ooze out of us. So to try to steer us in another way or say that's just not how we work. So we have to find ways to be more of a reflection of that and to bring more joy, like Sister Nadirah is saying. And I heard one person say, there's the next roomie is in surgery, depressed right now. And so, like, we love to talk about people in the old days and centuries ago and what they used to bring with their work and such and such, but somebody will be literally sitting right there, bucket loads of talent, and either we won't just get out the way, or we won't say, hey, I really want you to win, and I really want you to win, and I'm gonna make sure I stick by your side, just so that I can be a reminder of what's further down the road and growing in your art and growing in your Islam. But we'll just go for it. I don't care. You're damn, whatever case may be. And people suffer from that. So I remember early on, and I'll finish with this. I remember early on, my first official visit to college, when we got to our like visits, and they like, your parents go home and you stand with the rest of the team. It was all these like older classmen in the room while they were like, showing us around and stuff, and they just looked like they was hanging around and lingering. They looked like it was in the way, and I was like, 17, like, yo, what is this? And that point right there, I said to myself, I never wanted to be in the way of young people. Like, I never wanted to like be in their way. If anything, I wanted to be supportive and firm on my guidelines, but still support. These are these are our folks. These are our community. So don't cast them out. And they have so much to offer. Like, what they have to offer, it still hasn't even the surface hasn't even been scratched yet, to be honest.
You know what? And I feel like a lot of people want to show the world or give their art to the world, but it's surpassed. It's kind of like buried inside them because they're told, no, you shouldn't do this, or no, we're not going to support you in this. And like, it could be a trauma. It could be a trauma because you have this artistic ability to express and give, but you're being told, oh no, it's either haram, or oh no, we don't want you to win. We're not here to support you. So
why is it that? Why is it not like? Why is it immediately that? And why is it? I would think. Why doesn't my mind immediately start to go through all the mechanics of how can this be facilitated, rather than like forget it?
Right.
Like, if you got kids, if they say they want something and it's going to be a tough situation, as a parent, you'd be like, how can I get this done?
I give this to work. What can I do? Like,
no, we don't do that. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Forget it.
Yeah, so we have to bring more support because, like you said, you have people, they talk about people from old school, whatever, but it's so many people coming in that's new, right? And we need support from the old school to help nourish them, help them flourish, inshallah, and be really good artists. Because we're still learning. We learn from you. So don't keep that wisdom from us. Give it to us. so we can flourish, inshallah. And we have more questions here from other people. Before I get there, I want to kind of circle back a little bit to COVID. That's our topic really at hand. And as you know, with COVID, it really affects the Black community in devastating numbers. Like, we're one of the most highly affected communities that are suffering deeply in regards to COVID. We're losing a lot of people. So, you know, how can people use art to kind of deal with that, especially in minority communities? They're suffering from trauma, from losing their jobs, from losing someone they love. They're grieving, or they might even be homeless. So how can they use art to kind of get them through these different blocks or roadblocks that are in their way? What do you think? Like, what kind of tips do you have for that?
I answered that question first the last time.
I think that would have me kind of like reiterate the same thing that I said before. I think to like take a break. And I know that's difficult to do when the people around you are dying, when, you know, you're in the middle of food insecurity, when, you know, people are trying to come and evict you. But I think taking a moment, taking a second, allows you to regroup and think of another plan. But I also think people who have the luxury of indulging in art and have the luxury of being able to take that break because there's food in the fridge, because they have somewhere to stay, because their folks are alive, because they're not sick, should definitely do all that they can. I think you should take that moment that you have to be doing all of this art and just carve out some of that time to think what you could be doing for other people.
Mm. Tariq?
Yeah, I think, you know, same thing I said before. Find out, you know, figure out what you're attracted to, what type of art you're attracted to, and try to do like a small project in it. I see all art to me is like a puzzle, and if you've ever had the satisfaction of doing a big puzzle, you know, that's sort of the same. It's sort of the same satisfaction that you get from finishing a project, like just putting pieces together. And, you know, people get lost in puzzles, and you might be there for hours just putting it together, and you'll forget about other things, or other things might go to the back of your mind that were really pressing you. So I would say attempt to do that. There are writing prompts you can do. Color by number, like it, you know, whatever. Something happens when you decide to create an idea in your head that it'll naturally start to block out things that are going on, because your mind is like trying to carve something out of thin air. So I would say find your medium, you know, and really just work at it. Like, you know, carve your time out, like she said. Find yourself an hour or two and get a paintbrush or get a pen and just go.
Get a paintbrush, a pen, and just go. There's your tips for those who are listening in. So if you had any other questions, please drop them in the comments. We have one here from Tavasha, Misunderstood. Hey, assalamu alaikum, sis. She says, how do you respond to barriers when embarking on new endeavors? Some examples of barriers include like race, gender, etc.
Barriers. I try my best to speak it, to, you know, have my art speaking a language that is so direct and so pocketed within what I know and the experiences and the communities that I grew up in, that the people who I'm talking to know who I'm talking to. So like, for instance, if I say I found God in a bean pie, right? Like that's a specific community that I'm talking to. And when I'm talking to that community, when I'm presenting something like a project like that, I myself can't speak for nobody else. I'm not gonna run into a whole bunch of people who are like, no, what are you talking about? Like that was a heat-seeking missile for a certain community. And so I built my art around that, around trying to find this particular pocket that I'll speak to people, and whenever it exhausts itself, it does. And most of the times when I am like trying to like get things done, things of that nature, I'm speaking to the same people. I'm not going over to this whole crazy foundation over here and praying that they'll accept me as a diversity checkbox. That's not like, that's not even a part of, like, I'm not talking to y'all. Like, I'm not, like, I'm not trying to get funds to do whatever the case may be. Like, I'm not talking to y'all. And then another sort of diversion from that is that, like, I do a bulk of things myself. So I've literally learned how to sort of build and produce and make things myself, just because whenever I really, really need the people that are in community with me in art, I want to be able to pay them. So I'll do things myself until I get to a point where, like, all right, I can't do this myself. Then I'm able to pay them. But that has given me a bit more freedom. And I can't speak for nobody else, but that's really how it goes for myself. I hope that answers your question. I thought Nadirah was going to take it first. But
I'm going to give you the chance.
I have to agree with Tariq. I definitely am super passionate and super intentional about making art for my people. But I feel like I've still experienced certain barriers with that, but I don't want it to sound like cliche or cocky, but I don't care. When I walk into a space and I'm here to give something or I'm here to take something, I'm not leaving until it's done. But I also do understand that the way that Allah works, there's sometimes barriers that He sets up to let you know this is not a place that you need to go into, or this is not a place that you need to go any further into. And I definitely believe and feel and know that He sends me those messages through my intuition. So sometimes it's going to get real Jersey, and I'm going to just barge into the spot, and that's going to be that. And whatever it's going to be is whatever it's going to be. But sometimes when I get the feeling, I know these are not my people, and this is not what I'm here for. So I just leave. So I definitely depend on Allah, and I definitely depend on my intuition to let me know that sometimes I'm here to like be a giant, and then sometimes this is just not my space.
And you know what? And we realize that it's not our space. It's okay for us to leave. We don't have to go, have to stay there and like just bear the treatment and have to like go through it. No, it's okay to leave. You don't have to stay there. Right. I think a lot of us feel, we don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to be rude. Forget that. If you don't feel safe in a space, it's okay for you to leave and find a space that you do feel safe in. And I've been in these spaces myself plenty of times. And being like, okay, I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm going to stay here. And I'm comfortable and just like sit through it. But as I got older, I'm like, you know what? It's not about, how people are feeling. If I don't feel comfortable here, I'm just going to roll out. Or I'll speak about it and say something about it. Some people don't even know, or they're not conscious of knowing that they are not inclusive of all people when they have a situation or an event or something. So it's good that people speak out if they can, if they are comfortable doing so. We have another question from Jalila. Hey, assalamualaikum. Said, do either of the guests have side projects that are outside of their artistic works or a plan B, passion, quote unquote, that they work on or want to work on?
Is that like, is she asking if we have other jobs or like other hobbies?
I'm not sure. Let's see if she's still on. If not, I would just guess and maybe say maybe either or. Like your main role, right? I guess if your main job is a comedian or your main job is a writer, what are you doing on the side to kind of keep the juices flowing? Or other passions you might have? Oh, she said other. Here she goes. She said other interests.
Other interests. I mean, as soon as she said that, but I'm definitely interested in doing more work surrounding Black female comedians, because I feel like there's so much that is known about Black male comedians. Like, we can name so many and we know them and their lives, and Kevin Harlow, corny self.
You know what?
I feel like there's not enough that is known. So as of right now, I'm passionate about doing research as far as Black female comedy goes. And in addition to that, everything else kind of creative that you can think of, with the exception of music. I don't have a mixtape dropping. I'm with that. I'm with it all.
Yeah, I'm a writer. I don't know. Like, I'm a writer. Like, I don't, you know, what I would say, Sister Jalila, what I would say is that, like, once you stop running your head into walls that Allah has clearly made a wall for you, like, this ain't for you, bro. Like, this is like, stop. And you realize this big wide door was already open within the things that that Allah had already inherently given to you. Your life starts to sort of surround that. Like, your life revolves around that. So, like, you know, I've been deepening my studies in Islamic sciences over the last few years, 3 years, whatever the case may be. But that all is to, number one, get closer to Allah, but provide a foundation as an artist that's Muslim, a foundation so that I don't waver when tests come, in the artist world. So all things go back to that, that gift, and I would say that, like, a lot of people, they may pass away without honing in on that inherent thing that Allah gave them, or not being sort of allowed to express it. And it's almost criminal to not surround your life around it, or make it so much of a part of it. Like, there's never a time where I'm not sort of running my gears about writing, running my gears about creating, and it's gone. It's not labor anymore. It's just like a function. Like, it's not labor. It's not like work. It's just, me being myself. So outside interests, I want to learn. I'm learning now how to understand Fusha, classical Arabic, so that perhaps one day I can write like one 4-line poem in Arabic. But that, like, goes back to writing. So, like, so I don't
your passion.
Yeah, that's it. I'm working on becoming a better woodsman, like camping and stuff like that. I wanna unplug my kids, so I got to become better in the woods. And I'm from the bricks, so I don't know.
Right. My husband actually is into camping. I never really went camping until he started going. I was like, I'm not going out here no bears and all that. That's how I was thinking. But once you actually tried it, it's like, wow, it's like it's relaxing. See, like, it's Allah's nature, So we have a question from Khalil. Hey, assalamu alaikum, Khalil. He said, what kind of reactions makes you feel people received your artistic expression the way you hoped they would?
Nadirah, go ahead. Yours is much easier than mine.
Forcing.
I'm just saying, because, like, if you tell a good joke, people laugh, right?
Laughter. Like, laughter is always good, but I think another thing that I'm very intentional about with my comedy is telling the truth. So when people come up to me, and even if they laughed, having people come up to me and be like, you know what, you really made me think about that. Like I really had a bit of an introspective moment. Or, hearing people say, we started improving the sister side since you dragged our math shit. And it's like, wow, you guys are listening. So I think laughing and telling me that they had an introspective moment, or even sometimes not laughing, lets me know that you received it the way I intended it. Because for some people, when I say a joke, it's for certain people to laugh, and it's to pierce other people's hearts. So when people are not laughing, I'm like, why? I'm glad you heard what I said.
You're speaking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have people communicate. So I do poetry, so that's it's a bit different. So like I write and stuff like that. So my responses are more like after everything is done, let me take you to this, I'm gonna talk to you to the side and like I'm sobbing or something like that, or that was sort of early on, but now more so, I feel inspired. I feel like there isn't anything that can stop me. I feel like I can be myself. And that might just be from what, somebody might say to me afterwards, or something somebody might send me a message or something of that nature. And there's a lot of times, because I write so much, you create so much that sometimes you can forget the impact of certain things. So it might be 4 years later and somebody might randomly send you an email like, hey, a whole novel, like, hey, I was going through XYZ, and I just want to let you know, like, or literally somebody, was going through it with their mother, like on the brink of completely cutting ties. And they said, I listened to one of your poems about your mother, or whatever the case may be. And, and that night I decided to like patch up things with her. And so things of that, things of that nature. But just people telling you that they're comfortable being in sort of their own skin because you spoke to that pocket. Again, I'm speaking to a certain pocket. So that pocket feels comfortable and empowered and feeling like, they don't have to mask nothing. And, they can just walk through the world. And so, yeah, I would say those type of responses.
And I also say,
Lil.
I also say most recently, you're also an author, right? You wrote David's Dollar.
Alhamdulillah.
And mashallah, I'm seeing it everywhere. People are posting about it on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. So it shows that people really are enjoying and loving your work. I have a copy, and my daughter loved it. She's like, read that book again, David's Dollar about the dollar. Like she loves the book. So like you're having impact on children too. Like they're learning about money and learning how it relates to the Black community. Yeah. And we need more of that. Representation matters, right? We need more of that. So you're doing it.
trying our best. Alhamdulillah. But that's intention, like Nadirah said, because that manuscript was done 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So to put this into perspective, when I went viral from the Al Jazeera Plus thing, 4 million views and all that type of stuff, I met somebody who was like, within the next week or two, and was like, you need to take a break from work, 2-month break. You can finish your 50,000 word book about athlete protests. And I was like, what? I'm like, what? I'm like, man, this lady is bonkers. Like, that is not like the mission. Like, that's not that. If it don't come from the soul, that it's not. I can't even force that type of thing out. But the things that have been successful are things that like were intentional. Like, and I wasn't trying to like, oh, let me put this together real quick so I can, it don't work like that.
Well, this has been a great discussion. Like we have only 10 minutes left. So if folks have any other questions for Tariq or Nadirah, please drop it now. While we're waiting to see if people have questions, I have a question for you. So we're talking about art, healing, COVID, all of that. So what is healing? Like, we didn't even talk about what healing is or define the exact what healing is. So like, what is healing? What does that mean to you? Everyone has a different way or a different definition of healing, right? So for you both, what would you say healing is? Even if you don't use art, it could be something in general, especially during this time. Like, what is healing?
Got that, Tariq?
So December 9th, today is December 9th, and it's crazy we have a conversation about healing. Is on December 9th, 2005, my best friend who grew up across the alley from me, his brother was gunned down at the top of the alley on December 9th, 2005. And then 2006, myself and my best friend, we actually won a state championship together in football. So it's like a bittersweet, like very awkward. Those things are like always being tandem together. And I think for me, healing is not maintaining and holding tight to bitterness and rage to the point where it's debilitating, and being able to understand things for what they are, to be able to forgive, not just for the sake of forgiveness, but to forgive so that you're not holding on, you're not giving somebody else power over your day-to-day life because of the rage and bitterness that you hold for them. And that your forgiveness gets to a point where your forgiveness is between you and Allah and not you and the offender. And so as I reflect on today, because December 9th is coming to a close, that really being able to know what triggers you, know what things bombard your peace and bombard your rhythm, and what things and being at peace with who's bringing those things, those assaults as well, because there are a lot of people who are out of line with themselves, and they don't even know that they're impeding upon your peace. They just flying off the handle, just shooting straight bullets of anger, of rage, or whatever they got going on in their life. And for me, healing is not feeling like I gotta like chop everybody head off because they out of pocket, and knowing that people got their own stuff going on, and that I'm not to be played with, but at the same time, just being able to be comfortable in my own skin day to day, and being able to have bad days, recognize and have bad days and know what they're for, and also being just to be able to get up and keep fighting. So yeah.
Always so deep. And I want to say, sorry for the loss of, your friend's brother. But you're always so deep. The way you put together words, like, it's just so powerful. That's why you're such a great writer, because you speak from the heart, you speak from the soul, and this always has an impact on me. So, mashallah, Allah's giving you a gift. And alhamdulillah, so thank you for sharing it with the world, and hopefully, it's helping you to your own journey. Inshallah. Anything from you? What would
I agree. I think healing is sometimes knowing that there are some things that you will never completely heal from. There are some things that you will just carry for a lifetime, but healing is managing how you carry them. For example, the both of you know when you carry a car seat, if you like try to carry it straight armed, eventually you're gonna be like, you know what, forget this baby. But healing is knowing that you have to like bend your arm and tuck it and maneuver it and all of these different things. And healing is knowing that sometimes you need to put it down. And again, it's not something that you can ever really just put down and walk away from, but it's something that sometimes for today, for these moments, for these minutes, for these hours, when you're with your people, when you're having a moment, to just put it down. And it's okay to put it down. So I think healing is just managing better. Because there are some things that people are like, oh, yeah, you can do this and you can do that. But they're so impactful that no matter what, you're going to carry it. But healing is just knowing to carry it in different ways sometimes.
You know, you spoke to me when you said that sometimes you don't heal. Sometimes it's something you can't heal from.
Right.
And, you know, I think a lot of us can relate to that. Like, we've all been through different things in life where we know we just can't heal from it.
Right.
But we're still living, right? We're still here, still trying to get things done. And, you know, sometimes it's okay. Like, you shouldn't be forced to heal. Maybe that is your healing, not to heal from it.
Right.
And I have things that I can think of right now that I haven't healed from. I probably never will. That's a whole other conversation. But I think it's definitely good that you say that. And then also I think there's a stigma around sometimes seeking support when you need to heal. Like, okay, it's time for me to put this down. It's time for me to get help. Maybe you need to talk to somebody. I think especially when it comes to mental health awareness, it's such a stigma around that in our community. And, you know, people might say, oh, just read Quran. Or, oh, just make salat. Sometimes you need more than that, you know, and that's completely okay. It's okay to talk to a professional and, you know, get help and talk to somebody. Sometimes if you keep something bottled up inside, you can just explode. So I think I want to say to people who are watching, it's okay to talk to someone or get help if you need it. So mashallah, thank you for sharing those perspectives. We have one last question and then we're going to wrap it up, inshallah. We have it from Naima. And it's a long question, so let's take a moment to read it. Not sure if this was already covered, but as a parent home with little kids all day, virtual schooling, etc., any suggestions for incorporating art into activities? Not too messy because already exhausted. I do musical stuff, but looking for other things, especially with it getting colder. Any tips for parents? With young kids at home.
Okay, not too messy because already exhausted. I would say not too messy because already exhausted. There's a multitude of. I mean, sensory is like critical. You know, get the pipe cleaners out and have create something with the pipe cleaner. Yeah, pipe cleaners. All the stuff I'm thinking about is like the stuff I had to do with my kids. Is like since they turned up, like they super turned up. So it's like there's no way out of messy for me because they're like they're children of artists. So it's like, yeah. So I might do the food coloring in the bubble bath and make hella bubbles and be crazy.
Ooh, I like that idea.
You know, we've done that before. My wife came up with that idea, but that's messy. So I don't know. I'm gonna say for that one, I really don't know because the ages that they are, you know, the cerebral is happening in the background, but everything is sensory. Like everything is like, sensory. Everything is like stuff you could touch and whatever the case may be. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll say I don't know.
And, you know, I have a daughter too, and actually I do a childcare, you know that, Toure, like at events and stuff when pre-COVID. But one of the things I did yesterday with my daughter was dissolving cookies. And I mean, it's not super messy, do it with a friend. And basically you get baking soda and water. We sit together, it's like cookie dough, like that kind of texture. Put it on a cookie sheet and put spread it out nice and flat, put like a cookie cutter on it, make like little cookies on your little cookie sheet. Get some vinegar. Pour it on the cookie dough, watch it dissolve. He's like, oh, it's like dissolve. Like, oh, what's that? It's like, you know, science, like STEM. And it's not that messy if you use a bit of vinegar, but something they can do. And it's art. They like learning about science, learning about what happens with chemical reactions. So like this, like small things like that might be fun, or just coloring, or having them journal. They're old enough to get this journal through like pictures. They can draw a picture of how they're feeling. There's so many different things you can do with kids. I mean, I don't know the ages, but you can do with children.
My grandmother, she would get us every time. She still does this with my cousins. Let's play the quiet game.
Quiet water.
Whoever can stay quiet the longest.
You know,
hours on end. Like, oh my god, you're not about to get me.
Yeah, that's a tough.
I also think with children, something that like I like to do a lot with my little cousins is, I think we don't give kids enough time to talk. Like enough time to just say whatever it is that they need to say or whatever it is that they want to say. And I think especially if you have a lot of kids, it's kind of hard to like share that attention. So with my cousins, we'll have like, I call it like performance time or a talent show where they can just get up and we all have to give our undivided attention and they can say whatever it is that they need to say. That also helps with managing the things that they say outside. When they say them inside, you can be like, I don't think you should say that to anybody else. Thank you for sharing.
Kids have no filters. I'm telling you. You gotta be careful with your kids because my I can attest to it. I'm like, what are you talking
about? I don't know about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I thank y'all for coming. It's 10 o'clock now. We're all Eastern Zone, right? Yeah. So I thank y'all for coming tonight and sharing your perspectives about art and sharing with our guests here and our audience that are viewing. We got a lot of questions tonight. Actually, I don't think I did all of them, actually. I don't think I got through all of them. I'm just trying to scroll through real quick. A lot of comments. Assalamu alaikums. But I would say if you have questions for either of our guests, you can contact them via email or Instagram. So for Tariq, here's his information right here. So you want to contact him with more questions about art and healing or other things, or even book him. You know, here's information here. And then for Nadirah, where your information at? I'm gonna put you up here.
She don't say, I don't need that up there. What are you talking about? I don't even need that.
But I could have sworn that I put. I don't see your information. Well, tell folks, Nadirah.
That is a sign. Do not contact me.
Right.
Well, there you go. Don't contact her.
Nah, they can email me if it's about something serious.
And I'll put it
on serious.
Nadirah SP, right?
Yes, at gmail.com.
Let me add this real quick so y'all can see. So here's Nadirah information, and of course you can find her online at Nadirah P. So that's another way to get in contact with her. But questions, you can email her here. And Jalil said, Assalamu alaikum all. Thank you for this. I'm glad I made it. We're glad you made it too. Here. So with that, assalamu alaikum everybody. Please contact them if you to keep going. And if you want to contact me about doing work around COVID or anything else, here's my information here. So Jazakallah here and assalamu alaikum.
Say